I tried to imagine the nothing that remained. I discovered then what philosophers have known throughout the ages. It is very hard to think about the void. As a naive child, I had been wondering where the universe had been before I was born. Now I was trying to imagine what there would be had I not been born at all. We are the lucky ones, for we shall die, as there is an infinite number of possible forms of DNA, all but a few billions of which will never burst into consciousness. What is the universe for, than never to be born, or for those now dead? All cultures have created myths about those that have died. So difficult is it to accept that consciousness can just disappear when the oxygen pumps fail to power the brain. But what means consciousness for those combinations of DNA that never started, nor ever will be? It is as hard to understand how consciousness emerges and dies as it is to comprehend how something, the stuff of the universe, erupted out of nothing. Was there a creation, or was there always something? Could there even be nothing if there were no one to know there was nothing? The more I tried to understand these enigmas, the more I felt that I was at the edge of either true enlightenment or madness. Years later, having spent my life as a scientist trying to understand the universe, I have returned to such questions and taken a journey to find out what answers there are. The result is this little book. I am flattered to know that in having asked such questions I am in good company, as in one form or another they have been asked throughout the ages by some of the greatest philosophers. Furthermore, no answer has been agreed. At various times, as one philosophy has dominated over others, the received wisdom has also evolved. Can there be a vacuum, a state of nothing? Like questions about the existence of God, it seems that the answers depend on what you mean by nothing. In addressing these questions through the power of logic, the philosophers of ancient Greece came to contrary opinions. Aristotle claimed that there could not be an empty place. This was even raised to a principle that nature abhors a vacuum. What this means and why it was believed for 2,000 years is one of the first questions that I shall address. In short summary, we will see that it was not until the 17th century, with the emergence of the experimental method, that Galileo's students showed belief in the abhorrence of a vacuum to be due to a misinterpretation of phenomena. The apparent abhorrence was the result of 10 tons of atmosphere weighing down on each square meter of everything on the ground, squeezing air into every available orifice. As we shall see, it is possible to remove the air from containers and make a vacuum. Aristotle was wrong. At least, that is the conclusion if there is only air, such that removing air has removed everything. And as science has advanced and we have extended our senses with ever more sophisticated instruments, it has become clear that there is a lot more than just air to remove before we are left with a true void. Modern science suggests that it is impossible in principle to make a complete void, so perhaps Aristotle was not wrong after all. Nonetheless, modern scientists are happy to use the concept of the vacuum, one interpretation of modern physics being that it is focused completely on trying to understand the nature of the vacuum, of time and space in their various dimensions. The question that I so innocently asked myself is even more enigmatic given that today we know what no one did then. The universe is expanding and has been doing so for some 14 billion years since the eponymous Big Bang. As neither the solar system, the Earth, nor the atoms that make us are expanding, the received wisdom is that it is space itself that is growing. Leaving until later the question of what is it expanding into, we have a further coda to my original question. If I have removed everything, then is space still expanding? In turn, this begs the question of what defines space when everything is taken out. Does space exist independent of things in the sense that if I had mentally removed all those planets, stars, and assorted pieces of matter, space would remain? Or would the removal of matter do away with space as well? So let's begin our quest to see what insights wiser heads from history can offer as we try to answer questions such as